How's it going, everybody? My name's Dermot Lushart. Welcome to Mom, Dad, I'm a Thespian, the Troop 6910 International Thespian Society podcast. I'm your host, Dermot Lushart. I'm also the president of International Thespian Society Troop 6910. And today, I am very excited to bring to you the second in our interview series. And this one is with Jan Rominger and Joe Maniglia, the co-directors of Matilda. They are awesome people, and I'm super excited for you guys to get to hear from them today. Our own senior thespian, Trinity Rodriguez, was able to have this meeting with them so that they could talk, and I'm really excited to bring it to you. So without any further ado, here's the interview with Trinity Rodriguez, Jan Rominger, and Joe Maniglia.
Okay. First of all, I'd like to thank you guys for both joining me. Jan, it's nice to meet you, and Joe, it's good to see you again.
Good to see you, Trinity.
So I want to know how both of you are doing right now amidst all this crazy times of COVID-19.
I'm doing okay. Each day is kind of weird, but partly because I'm off my rhythm. I am not doing theater. We're not. Well, I guess we are directing a show.
We're rehearsing.
We're rehearsing a show, but I'm not doing much TheatriKids wise except grant funding and looking for grants, and so that's not the fun part of my job, obviously. The other part of my job that I'm doing is working at the hospital, and that's sometimes hard. So, but I'm okay.
I'm doing fine. I teach fitness classes, and so I've been able to actually do those online. So my job is just shifted to being home, which everybody's adjusting to that right now.
And it's fantastic that in both of your guys' jobs you have been able to adjust personally as well as theatrically. So moving along, I guess, as you guys mentioned, due to COVID-19, there have had to be major changes made to the theatrical community. And currently, Jan, you're in the middle of your production of Matilda, and Joe, you began to prepare for Theatrikos Sweeney Todd. I was wondering if you could share how this had affected both of your shows. And Joe, let's talk about Sweeney Todd first.
Well, Sweeney Todd wasn't set to start till May, but we should be back up and running by then. I wish. I know we won't be. So yeah, we've had to kind of scramble and think, okay, do we try and pick this up later in the year, or do we just kind of shelve it? And it does not look like Sweeney Todd will be performed. Well, I'm almost 100% positive we will not be doing Sweeney Todd with performances in June. Whether we do it later in the year, we're still discussing. Kenlin and I are discussing that. And we haven't come to a rock solid agreement on, but we will be doing shows, TheatriKids shows, and trying to fit in as many of them as we can whenever we can start back up. So we're committed to doing whatever we can to make it a good experience for everyone who comes to be in TheatriKids.
Thank you. And Jan, COVID has affected Matilda, which has been set before the widespread of the corona outbreak. How has this changed for you guys?
It came to a screeching halt. So Joe and I are co-directing this particular show, and it's a very big musical. We have over 31 cast members and more parts than that. There's some people playing multiple roles. And we were just getting to Tech Week. We had 9 rehearsals to go before we were supposed to open. So we were at a point where everything was going to come together So we've been rehearsing a lot. It's been a lot of hard work for our actors who are amazing. I've never experienced anything like this where a show just comes to a screeching halt. So I think we all just were kind of shocked that first week. We've been rehearsing all of our dialogue. We started a couple of weeks ago on Zoom, and it doesn't work musically for us in group numbers. It works fine with solos. So we're trying to adjust to that. We're trying to find a way to have everyone stay rehearsed. And so what we decided was we would structure it for them. So we have rehearsals every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday. And if they're not called, if the actors are not called that day, we just ask that they continue to look over their material and practice. Luckily, we had videotaped all of our choreography that we had accomplished up to that point. There's 18 musical numbers in the show, and there were a couple that still needed some piecework done to them. And so all of those are on YouTube. So that was amazing. So we have a channel that everybody can go to and remind themselves of what they learned, because when we do open, which we will be the first show that Theatrikos opens with when the CDC gives us clearance to do that, we have some work to catch up with. Doing a musical, you build your endurance in rehearsal. And so right now, I think a lot of us are sitting on our bums. And so I'm a little worried that people will come in, even more exhausted than, who knows, maybe the adrenaline will kick in. So those are just the things we're looking at. Our set is 90% complete. So we were really lucky that we had that up. Costuming was almost finished. So yeah, I think we're all figuring out how this is going to work, but I'm really excited. I think it's a wonderful show to have as the opening of the season, because it's so positive and uplifting and dynamic, and just blows me away every time I hear our actors singing and performing. They're so strong. We're really lucky.
That's fantastic. Is there anything you'd like to add to the whole process, Joe, from your point of view or perspective?
I just got to say, Jan has done the heavy lifting on this show, because I got sick in February, right in between Hamlet, in between performance weekends of Hamlet. I was sick, and so Jan had to scramble then to pick up. So in some ways, having this extra time is going to be good, because I think we're going to be even more ready rather than push to the very end before we open. Getting some time to think through some things. There were some technical things that Jan and I were trying to figure out that I'm glad we have this extra time to think about them, because this show has a lot of theater magic that has to happen, and I think it will be better for us taking the time to think through it. But like Jan said, just when I was gone for that week, when I came back, then when I was well, just hearing the songs, I mean, I was an emotional wreck. I was just crying because it was so moving. And I don't think it was, it's meant to be inspiring. I don't think it was meant to be, I don't think most people are thinking, oh, this is going to move me. I think it really will move all of us when we come out of our sickness and are ready to be together again.
Well, that's fantastic. I know I'm personally really excited to go see the show. I've heard a lot of great things about it from your cast members and from the community, so I'm very excited to see it once all this is over.
Any particular cast member who's been sharing about it?
Do either of you have any suggestions on what our thespians who are at home, what they can do to keep practicing at their scale and to not lie idle with it? Jan, do you have any suggestions?
Yeah, I've been able to do a lot more research because I have so much time on my hands. So the best actor is the most prepared actor. So if you're watching other actors performing, I think that's invaluable. So if you have a lot of downtime, like we do, you can watch Shakespeare. The Royal Shakespeare Company is streaming their work, and I think a lot of good is going to come out of this in the long run, because people are getting a little antsy, which means they're getting bored, which means they become creative. And so I think the more creative you can be, I'm so grateful that we have technology while we're going through this. I can't imagine what it was like, the Spanish flu pandemic. They were finding out about things by word of mouth. We can still stay connected. And so I just encourage people to connect and stay excited about the opportunity to learn new things every day, rather than, I'm bored. This is a great opportunity. When do we get to push the pause button and then pay attention and do things that we've always wanted the time to do? And it just takes, the initiative might be a challenge. I think a lot of people are feeling stuck. Like, where do I start? Like with my closets, I have so many closets that I've been wanting to clean for like literally years. And so I started pulling stuff out because I thought, if it's in my way, I have to deal with it. So, but I was procrastinating on that, and I have absolutely no excuse.
Well, that's a fantastic way to look at things, a positive outlook. Joe, what about you?
I would just second what Jan said. Being a theatrical person, we're constantly going on to the next show. We got to get the rights for this show. What do we need for that show? And we're constantly in this go mode. And as such, I don't personally get to see a lot of theater. That is changed now, because a lot of theater is being offered right in our very living rooms through the computer. So I've gotten to watch, just this last week, I watched One Man, Two Governors with James Corden. And it's not my thing, but it was amazing to watch this performance and think, what can I take from that to use myself as an artist, but also as I think through shows, it's a very different type of show. It's kind of a burlesque show, also improv, also, it's kind of genre bending. So taking advantage of those opportunities to study your monologues, look at your lines, sing your songs. I've been so moved by, there's a site I'm on Facebook, Quarantine Karaoke, and these people who are just like me, who love the arts, and they're singing songs, and I think that's what we need, or at least that's what I need. So to stay art sensitive, to stay honing your skill. Like Jan said, we don't often get to press the pause button. So take advantage of this time, and don't let it just be where we veg out and watch Tiger King over and over and over again because we're bored. There's a lot that can be done.
But I know you already touched on this, but are there any shows that you guys have watched specifically that you would suggest other theater people watch as an example of proper acting and good acting techniques? Jan, have you seen any?
So I'm looking mostly at clips. So, and part of that is the stuff that I'm interested in is mostly musicals, and I haven't seen one being streamed yet. You can buy it. You can go onto a streaming service. So I've really just been doing more YouTube ones, and anything that's on Broadway or the West End is worth watching because they're just amazing actors. They're so skilled. It's their job So they get paid to do all of those rehearsals. That's their job, and they take it very seriously. And it inspires me. Whenever I get a chance to see a live performance by a professional, I'm blown away. So yeah, I'm doing mostly clips of musicals.
And Joe, how about you?
So, well, I did see One Man, Two Governors, but National Public Theater is putting up other shows weekly. And I haven't caught anything else, but that was what I watched last week. I was excited to see the Royal Shakespeare Company, because I want to see those things, because you get great ideas for how to interpret Shakespeare to this generation by seeing good people do straight Shakespeare, not adapted or abridged, but to just do it and to lay it all out there. I would say those two things, and I'm looking forward to. I know Andrew Lloyd Webber has, Sir Andrew Lloyd Webber has a YouTube channel now, and he's putting up shows. I'm ready to see what he's got to offer as well.
Is there anything you'd like to add to let our listeners know about Theatrikos?
Well, we're coming back strong when we come back. That's for sure. I'm on the artistic committee, and so we've been working with our executive director, Chris Verrill, trying to figure out what our season is going to look like. And Joe is a part of that process, because TheatriKids season is also affected by the compression, that we have to compress everything. So we've, based on when we can open Matilda, we know that show is going to go first. The ones that fall into place next really just depends on the time frame. But we had 7 more shows to do. And Joe, how many did you have? We had 6 more shows to do.
We had four TheatriKids shows left. And Stage Buddies is going to go forward. We're just trying to figure out when. It may not be all by itself. It may be a matinee show in front of a main stage show. So we're just, we're committed to getting, because people want to be in shows, and a lot of the people who are probably going to listen to this podcast are probably going crazy because they really want to perform. And so we're going to try and to do what we can to make the most opportunities that we can without killing ourselves in the process. So.
Yeah, it'll be a tight season, very tight season. We're hoping to do at least 3 main stage performances or productions, multiple performances of those, and then possibly a studio series. We looked at reducing it or trying to keep 4. I don't know if that's going to work. So we're still trying to move the puzzle pieces around, but everybody's excited for the opportunity when it does present itself, and we're just going to come out like horses running out of the gate.
Well, that's fantastic. Thank you so much for both joining me and doing this interview. I hope you both are staying healthy and happy and positive during this time.
Thank you, Trinity. It was a pleasure to speak to you.
Awesome. Well, once again, that was Joe Maniglia and Jan Rominger, interviewed by Trinity Rodriguez. Thank you, Trinity, so much for having that happen. Thank you, Joe and Jan, for talking to us. Theatrikos is really a staple of the community, and we're really excited to see how it comes back within these next few months after COVID-19. Otherwise, join us next week for another episode of Mom, Dad, I'm a Thespian, where we will be interviewing another member of another theater company. But until then, good night. Parting is such sweet sorrow. I'll talk at you next week.